Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo!
Hello everyone, Q here. You might be familiar with my counterpart, Q. Now, the normal capitan of this little ship known as YouTube is a bit indisposed at the moment. I've sent him off to be able to join Dung Beetle or something, I don't recall. I felt it was prudent to come to you today to talk about Scopely, and maybe it's time that humanity gets put back on trial, because it seems that you are the architects of your own destruction due to your inevitable downfall caused by greed and corruption, and I think today is a great example of that. So in this video, I guess I shall fill into my predecessor's role. I like cosplay, it's fun. We pretend to be a human for a moment. I can see why Q enjoyed it so much. We'll tell you what to get from this store while also telling you why it is quite, in fact, indubitably the worst thing I have ever seen. In all my days of being a Q, this is the worst.
Hey, bro, come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Well, the first thing, I guess, is to point out a positive, if there's one to be found. And as my friend Q is so quick to point out that humans have room for growth, you can, of course, get exchange directives if you were here a year ago, playing this exact same, and mind you, it is the exact same Borg modus from last year. Nothing has changed. It's identical. Nothing. I think that is what angers me, and honestly, if I am being quite upfront and forthcoming, it amuses me that so many of you have fallen for this ruse and accept it as nothing more than the everyday mundane. This is acceptable. This is your quid pro quo for all the work that you put in. Then this is okay. Maybe you deserve your fate. Maybe you don't. We'll decide by the end of this video. Oh gosh, how did Q put up with you? I shall never know. So, charged nanoprobes and frequency modulators, not on my recommend list. If there's a second positive, for whatever reason that you might want to build a second Franklin, well, now you have the warp conduits to do so. All of the materials needed to build a second Franklin in terms of warp interlocks are now made available to you. Oh, joyous day. You can now have what used to cost you $100. Wonderful. Devore blueprints and Devore parts, wouldn't bother my time with that. And if I was playing this game, and of course I don't have time for such frivolous things and trivial pursuits, the jellyfish would certainly not be something I found a prudent course of action, nor would the Discovery be. However, if you are lacking any of these specialty ships, I would say now is a time to work towards them, as all event stores in Star Trek Fleet Command are. The Spore Drive. I await the day that Q takes a visit to your Discovery, and we'll save that for another video. Cultivated mycelium is, in fact, worth a purchase, even on your limited parsley funds. I believe at the end of this event, your Rev Deuce will end up with around 60,000. I think that's what we've calculated, if you didn't spend any money. And it's quite a wonder that in the 21st century of your Earth years, you still rely so much on currency and the exchange of monetary goods that have no intrinsic value. They're not based on anything. It's digital currency. But alas, we're back out. Cultivated mycelium is a worthwhile purchase. Stella blueprints, if you haven't got a second one of them, now is a good time. Good as any. Limited to 10. They can actually buy half a Stella for not a bad price. 38,000 Borg War Funds actually is semi-reasonable. If you don't have a second Stella, enter into that journey. It'll be good. Also, have you noticed how my accent has changed like 4 times in this video? Say nothing, or else I'll turn you into a Bajoran dung beetle. It'll make me laugh. Next up is the Botany Bay. You got one of these already. You don't need another. Plutonium, ignore. Enterprise, D4, Auger blueprints. Exchange rate on these seems quite steep. Steep indeed. 3 blueprints is about what you would come away with if you were free to play. Doesn't exactly seem worth it to me. But you, of course, can make your own decisions. Who am I to judge? Oh, I'm Q. I am the one to judge. Hence the attire. That goes the same for the D4, the Auger, the Intrepid, the Burrell, the Gladius, the Antares, the Cavort, the Valkyries. And then that brings us to probably the biggest topic of this event store. Active nanoprobes. Now, the exchange rate on this is even worse than the Enterprise. 75,000, which a free-to-play can't even reach. It's not realistic. But if they did happen to get 75,000 in some way, they would only get 12.5 thousand active nanoprobes. For reference, remember, a Borg officer such as 5 of 10 or 6 of 10 is going to run you over 1 million of these. 1 million. Imagine the amount of discovery mushrooms you need to black alert into that. It's ridiculous. Nonsensical even. And I try to impart with all sincere sagacity that you should make the moves that I'm telling you to make. Pay attention. Moving on to officers, which is always a wise decision to invest in these. 1 of 10, not necessarily as much, but these two, 5 of 10 and 6 of 10, if you don't have them already, now would be a great time to start working towards that endeavor. 5 of 10, not being the worst price, you should be able to get about 10 shards for free to play. Not bad to pick up 10 when you need them. Also, even though 6 of 10 is in the transporter pattern store, if you don't have him yet, I think it would be a very good idea. In fact, I would say that if you would like to display that you have a much higher level of mental acuity than most of you humans, choose to get 5 of 10 or 6 of 10. Be a wise decision. Remember, 6 of 10 is cheaper to get than 5 of 10. 5 of 10 needs 125 epic shards. 7 of 10, 8 of 10, 9 of 10, I would choose to ignore. 10 of 10 is a maybe. Once again, up to you. Ultra Recruit tokens, no. Independent credits are always a wise choice, even in the Continuum. When we're upgrading our officers for this game that we have already beaten, as the your friend Scar Porton would say, level 50, bro. Well, we've already been there, done that. Didn't really enjoy it, but good idea. The exchange rate on these is not very good, but still, good idea. And then, of course, the uncommons, the rares, the tokens, ignore all of this. And some of you would even see Borg missions in your event store. Don't do that. Don't do that. They're from last year. They literally serve no purpose. And one of them only gives 1 of 10 shards. So there's no secret 5 of 10 lurking inside. You get some of this. Not worth it at all. In this Q's opinion. And as far as judging humanity goes, the exchange rate on these Borg funds, the amount that we have gotten, or that you have received, I can have as many as I want with a quip of the finger. But if I was to insert one palky quip at the end of this video, it would be this. Don't be a parsimonious penny pincher with your war funds. Generously give them out to whatever officer has earned them. But when it comes to purchasing war funds and 2 of 10, do not reward these miscreants for their devious Ferengi-like plot to siphon all the funds from your Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Venmo, Google Play Store. Don't do it. Don't fall for the ruse. It's simply not worth it. And that is that this event store is quite literally the worst that's ever hit this game. Quite literally the worst. Quite literally the worst. Quite literally the worst. And it takes a Q to come down and admit the truth, because humans won't admit it to themselves. Just simply can't see it. But I can. This has been terrible. Awful. Almost as bad as the acting in this video. But at least the costume looks amazing. You know what? What do the Vulcans say? Live long and prosper. This red oven mitt says so. Stay safe with their space cowboys. Make sure you let Scopely know what you think about the Absolution arc and the Borg event store in the comment section below. In the next video you see, I will return your Capitan, as this Q is not as vindictive as some in the Continuum would have you believe that we should be. Once again, this is accident number 6. We'll see you on the next one. Space Cowboys.
Remember, Spock doesn't go on the Enterprise. Live long and prosper. All the best.
An even better outro than the intro for the Empire and glory to your house.